Zoom this. One of my former group mastermind clients helped open up Oregon's first psilocybin service center just months ago. And she's also a former nurse. So yeah, a lot of people are done with the system. Yeah. Yes, I hear you. This is what a lot of my nurse clients say, even doctors, a lot of people. Yeah, you might know her. She's in Bend, Oregon. The name of the service center is, oh, sorry, not Bend, Eugene. Why am I blanking on the name? I interviewed her on my podcast as well. Epic Healing. Yes. Yes, Heather, my former client, who's a good friend. I wouldn't call her a good friend now. You know, clients always become friends, partners, peers. I've interviewed her on my podcast. Yeah, it's really amazing to watch how people have grown. You know, she came to my mastermind. She's also an herbalist and a cannabis nurse, and has, you know, came to my mastermind to develop her own apprenticeship and training program, and then got that launched, and then wanted to speak on stages more, and started speaking on stages. And then it was kind of serendipitous, which is something that happens a lot when you start to take your own path towards the work that you want to be doing. Very often the universe has other plans, and all of a sudden she just found herself involved in this psilocybin service center, and next thing you know, it opened and it was all over the news, and she's been at it. I mean, it's just amazing to watch how much someone can grow in a year. Holy crap. And by the way, this is not my only mastermind client who is blown up. You know, what I teach, and also what I really believe in, is when you're really aligning with your heart and your soul's path, doesn't mean you need to quit what you're doing now, but just start taking the steps. Very often, you know, depending on your level of like what you believe in, the spiritual world, I do believe what's happening is there's this greater force, you know, great creator, your higher self, spirit, you know, all of it's one and the same, wants you to live what you're here to do, right? You are incarnated here right now for a reason. So, you know, it's about really coming into that alignment of your heart and your soul. And when that happens, magical things start kind of happening out of the blue. And I'm sitting here putting this in quotes because I have seen this happen over and over and over for years, where it seems almost magical. It seems like, holy crap, I could have never imagined this. I can tell you story after story after story where clients come in, they start to take steps, and then all of a sudden something else just like lands in their lap, or they meet the right person at the right time. And that's what I'm here to talk about is, yes, a lot of you maybe want to start or grow your business. That's a part of it. But at the same time, you know, as you take the steps to follow your heart and your soul's path, you never know what's in store for you. And I'll tell my story in a second. It's like, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a business coach. This is just, you know, this path that I took that was always true to my heart, or almost always. You know, once I started walking this path of true to my heart and what was coming through my channel, what was coming through me, that's where things just started happening. And this happens with my clients all the time. So I'm so excited that you're here. Let's get started. And for those of you joining, I would love to know what else brought you here, where you're from. Yeah. Oh, did I cut out? Oh, okay, that was you. Great. Everybody can hear me okay? I'm assuming so, yes. Well, happy Saturday. This is the first time I've ever done a Saturday workshop. I will say that it's kind of funny. I'm Beth Weinstein. I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Yeah, it's pouring rain where I live right now, so I am happy to be here with you because I have no desire to be out in this god-awful pouring rain. It's been raining a lot where I live. So I call myself a spiritual business coach. I work with a lot of medicine people, a lot of people on the healer path, spiritual path, people who want to bring psychedelics into their work, some people who maybe just find the entheogenic path as part of their own path, but maybe don't want to bring it into their work. But a lot of my clients are called to the path of being of greater service. A lot of people I work with maybe were in some kind of healer role, you know, acupuncturist, nurse, body worker, and are feeling the call to step it up into either an online business or be of higher service, or just expand their work into something that feels much more truthful and aligned with who they are now. I work with a lot of people who are burnt out at their jobs or in their business, or people who maybe tried to start up their healing, coaching, psychedelic therapy type business, you know, spiritual mentors, teachers, whatever it is, and maybe haven't gotten very far. Like maybe you've gotten some clients, or it's taken off a little, but it's not really supporting you or sustaining you. I help a lot of people like that as well. People in their first, you know, one to 5, 6 years. You know, I've even helped people in their first 9 to 10 years. You know, but people who are really ready to be supported financially, energetically, and spiritually by their life's work, by their soul's calling, by what they love to do. You don't even need to call it a business, because really the word business is just doesn't really describe the kind of work that most of you are called to do. You're working with people's psyches, their souls, their hearts, their energy fields. This is deep work we're doing at a very profound time, being a human alive on planet Earth. So that's what I'm here to do, is help you be able to help more people. And I do believe we are all in this to make a greater change on planet Earth during this great turning that we are in. So this is session number 3 of You Are the Medicine. If you missed sessions 1 and 2, the replays are available. I have now sent them multiple times in emails. We uploaded the replays to YouTube as well. Some people were having trouble with the video. Please just shoot me an email if you need those replays and you haven't received them, or if you're having any problems. San Francisco, I don't know how I found you. Oh, you just lost your job unexpectedly. Yeah, that happens to me a lot. Shannon, thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, we can definitely talk. I get a lot of people who've either just lost their jobs or actually lose their jobs when they're in my program. And here's the thing, you know, and we'll talk about it in a minute. I used to work in a secure, stable job back in the days, and I don't really believe there is such a thing as secure and stable anymore. Yes, there is the illusion of feeling like a job is more secure, but in reality, what is secure these days? You know, like we all know, I know nurses, doctors, lawyers who've been out of work or gotten sick or burnout or been fired. I mean, you know, now there's tech industry jobs losing left and right. I mean, and here's the thing, entrepreneurship, yeah, it's no joke. Like it's a real deep spiritual path, but in the end, it's like, at least then you know you're in control of your destiny versus depending on someone else to tell you what to do, where to be, when you can take time off, and if you're going to be paid next week or not. You know, at least entrepreneurship, it's like you get to work for yourself and create your own reality, and there is nothing like it. I mean, and I'm not saying, you know, it's not easy, but you know, what is easy? And really, are we here to just make a quick buck? Or are we here to actually enjoy life? To me, all it comes down to is what really will light you up and get you excited to get out of bed in the morning. You guys, I say this honestly, I used to be one of those people that worked, you know, for other people for a long, long time. And it used to be a challenge to get out of bed in the morning. Now I wake up naturally and I'm like excited to get out of bed. You know what I mean? And I want that for everybody. Like there are very few to never days during my year where I dread getting up. Like, honestly, I can't even remember the last time I felt that feeling of like, I don't want to get up today. I mean, it never happens to me anymore. So I want that for everybody. So we're going to go into what to do first and next, even if you don't know what it is you want to do. So how many of you feel that calling, like, you know, you could help people, or, you know, you want to make a difference in the world, or, you know, you're here to do something else, but you don't know what it is? Yeah. Yeah, chat or raise your hand. That's a very normal thing about people. Oh, Chris, I love it. Public accounting trade. Actually, I can talk about that in a minute. I have a client who has merged the two together, and it's so exciting. But even if you don't know what it is that you want to do, you're in the right place, because this is the first step I always teach all my clients. Even if you have clarity and you know exactly what you want to do, or you have no idea, but you know you want to do something and you want to work for yourself and you want to be able to make a difference in the world, That is the first step I teach, whether you know what it is or not, it's still the same step. The first step helps you get super clear, and it helps you really embody and feel what it is that you're here to do. So we will talk about how to get clarity in your business, which we went into in session number 1, but we'll cover a little bit again today. But if you really are stuck on clarity, review session number 1. This is also the very first step I teach all of my clients. So no, you do not need to know what your business is to start your business. It's actually the other way around. If you don't know what it is, what you need is support to then start to feel and know in your body and your soul what it is you're here to do. This is not a thinking process. This is not a mind or mental based process. This is an embodied process that has to be felt. That's what I teach. We will talk about imposter syndrome, which, you know, I am starting to get really convinced that this is the greatest pandemic of our society right now. I cannot tell you how prevalent this is, especially with the growth of, you know, social media, the internet, and just how much people are being influenced and, you know, brainwashed by seeing other people out there to believe that they're not good enough. I mean, if you really get deep into the marketing and the capitalism and like how it's designed to make humanity feel like we need more, that we're never enough, that we're not making enough, that we're never skinny enough, we're never pretty enough, we're never young enough, we're never, you know, worthy enough, we're not successful enough. Like, this is the root of our entire systemic problems that, you know, and I'm not here to talk about the system, but really when we stop to look at the root of imposter syndrome and this disconnection to our heart and our divine pillar of light that is your true path. This is why all my programs are called True Path, Your True Path, True Path Entrepreneur. Then you start to realize you're not an imposter. You're just a human at a certain point, and you're able to help anybody that is behind you, however many, you know, days, years, months that it's been. And really, this imposter syndrome, which I'll talk about more, we went into in session 1 and 2, is a deep core wound that so many people have of just never feeling good enough or perfect enough or worthy enough or trained enough or certified enough, or, you know, it's like this, especially here in the Western world. So I teach a way to actually start to change your perspective and actually reprogram your subconscious to start to know that you're not an imposter. And in steps number 1, 2, and 3, definitely step number 1 that I teach inside of all of my programs, including my mastermind, the very first step is when you start to feel in your body and start to have the confidence to know, wait a second, I can help people. I'm not an imposter. I just feel like an imposter because I've been programmed to believe that there's always something wrong with me or that I'm never whole. But inherently, you are whole exactly as you are right now. And again, I think if all of our society could start to feel that, we would actually have a different world. So I really stand for a world of people really being in their hearts and being who they truly are in their authentic truth and their soul's path, and realizing, like, yes, the ego mind, the monkey mind that is trying to make us feel safe and secure and keep us from being who we truly are, because that's its job, that is just the ego telling you that you're an imposter. So the more awareness we can develop around our monkey minds and how our minds make up stories that are not actually true, the more success you will have, and the more you will actually start to live the life that you want. And this is what I do with my clients, because it's a very prevalent issue out there. We will also talk about how to have a psychedelic business and other similar transformational businesses. I do teach how to bring psychedelics in, or how to have a psychedelic business or be a psychedelic integration coach. I've been doing this a long time. I've been on the psychedelic path for over 30 years. It's a huge part of my life. And there are many ways to go about it where you can do it legally without incriminating anybody or yourself. You can do it without having to serve medicines. You can do it with serving some medicines. There is a way. I will talk about that more. And I'm actually teaching an entire workshop on this in a week and a half on October 19th on just psychedelics in business. We're going to talk about how to love what you do and make a difference in the lives of others. Everything I teach costs $0. So this is another thing I teach in my mastermind, is how to grow a very successful business that will actually support you year after year after year after year without spending a dime. You do not need to spend money to start up your business. Trust me, please do not put up a website. Do not do that yet. It is one of the later steps. And even then, you do not need a website. Yes, Sarah, we will send out the link to the Psychedelics and Business workshop in another week or so. It's not ready yet, but yes, it is going to be free and you can attend. But I want everybody to know, don't spend money on your business yet. It's not something you need to do for the first year and a half to 2 years. And I always say, wait until you're making a certain amount of money and have a certain amount of clients, and then you can invest. But there is an illusion out there, this made up story that you need a website and you need this and you need ads and a podcast and a book. Don't worry, it's much simpler than that. Easy ways. I will talk about what you don't need and how to make money doing what you love so you can help more people, have freedom, create fulfillment and abundance with your purpose, all with your heart and your soul. The one thing for any of you who've been following me a while, you know that I walk the path of authenticity. I am a no bullshit person, and I do not teach a bunch of fluff or BS. And what I teach you and all my clients inside of my mastermind program and my other programs is how to have an authentic business that feels true to you and your values. This is not about pretending to be someone that you're not, or pretending to put on this like fake persona on social media so you get followers. It is not about that. And by the way, that whole paradigm is dying out and everybody sees through it. How many of you see through all the bullshit on social media? Why do it then? You know, it's like medicine people who are energy sensitive, empaths. How many of you identify as an empath like me and pretty much all of my clients? Don't worry, you don't need anything that is not feeling good to your soul and your heart. So we are all about being like seriously radically, vulnerably, authentically you, unapologetically you. So if this sounds like you, raise your hand or just say yes. If you're not sure how to make a living with what you're wanting to do, or how many of you have done a lot of work, like you studied breath work or coaching or Reiki or plant medicine or astrology or, you know, whatever it is, like maybe you've just done a lot of your own inner work for, you know, years and years, but you don't know how to bring it all together to make one business out of it. That is something we talk about. Yeah, I've not done any work except Bufo. Yeah. Hey, yeah, Bufo is no joke. I would say I'm like, Bufo, my first Bufo experience many years ago, it took me years to integrate, years. It's honestly, it can really, I mean, that is to me like one of the most sacred medicines. It can really like thrust you into an alignment of what you're here to do. Cause I've seen this with me, with many other people of like, okay, well, something just cleared out of my field and now there's something being birthed. How do I integrate this into the work I do? I mean, generally, a lot of our society is, you know, people are turning to psychedelics to help with anxiety or depression or feeling sad or lonely or isolated or disconnected. You know, like there's this desire to work with psychedelics to fix all these problems. But what's happening is the root of those problems, the root of the depression, the root of the anxiety, the root of the disconnection, very often is that people are living lives that they hate. And we spend a third of our life working. So if you're working in a job that you don't like or doing work that's not 100% aligned with who you are and what you really want, then of course you're going to start feeling depressed, anxious, disconnected, lonely, sad. like unfulfilled, like life has no meaning. And then you turn to psychedelics looking for meaning, but really it's not the psychedelic that's going to fix the problem. It's getting to the root of the problem and making a transformation. And that's why I help my clients integrate the psychedelic experiences into their work, into their career, into their life's calling. You know, I do have clients that actually have jobs. I have clients that are CEOs of companies, and it's still the same issue. Doesn't matter if you love what you do or not. It's like, if you aren't really feeling the depth of fulfillment and living your truth, then of course you're going to feel like that offness of depression, unfulfilled, like something's wrong, something's missing. And I'm curious, how many of you feel that feeling of like, I feel like I have no meaning or something's missing and like, what's going on? Trust me, I felt that way for a very long time. And I thought fixing it with psychedelics or whatever it was the solution, until I realized the solution was like, well, actually, no, you need to actually make a real lasting change and get to the root of the problems. We'll talk about that more. So if you procrastinate, how many of you feel like you get stuck or you try things and then you start getting overwhelmed and like running in circles? And you're like, what do I do next? What do I do first? What do I do next? What do I need? And then you get kind of overwhelmed by the world that we're in with like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and podcasts and books and the internet and websites. And it's like, and then you think you need this and you think you need that. That happens to a lot of people. And I am here to give you the steps that are super simple, that has you be able to just shut that all down and just follow step by step by step by step. So all you have to do is follow the steps and they will lead to results. It's unfortunately, we live in such a noisy world and no one knows the real truth, right? There's this illusion that people think, oh, if I just have a lot of followers, or if I do a big summit, or if I start a podcast, then I'm going to have all these clients. Well, and then my clients come to me saying, I did this and I did that. I tried this and I tried that. Why am I not getting any clients? I'm here to help you. Yeah, throwing darts in the dark. That is exactly it. The merry-go-round. I am literally here to just walk you through super simple steps to get results. And you don't actually need any of that. I mean, don't worry, I do teach how to integrate like which one of those when, but it's not about doing all the things at once. It's about following a clear path. This is the way I explain it. So if you try all these different things and you're spinning around, throwing darts at this and this and this, what happens is your energy is being sprayed out in many different directions. Let's say 20 different directions. There's energy going all these kind of like, you know, like splatters of water everywhere. And what happens is you don't get results in any of them. But when you follow the simple steps that I teach, which by the way, there's a lot of steps that I teach that most people don't even know about. And so they're skipping over the very basic root chakra steps of their business. And when you follow the steps, your energy is filtered into one line where all you do is you put all your energy into step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And if you just keep doing it, you will get clients very often in step number 1, 2, 3. So, you know, and then step 4, step 5, and then it's just, okay. And then it's like a relief because then you just know this is what I need to follow. Trust in the process. You guys, I wouldn't be here doing what I do. I wouldn't have the testimonials I have. I wouldn't have the clients I'd have all these years. I wouldn't be making multiple 6 figures year after year after year after year after year if I didn't know what I was doing here. It's just super simple. It's like, this is the exact process I've been running my business on since day one, many, many years ago. And I'm making it. And I have clients that some of you even know because they're pretty well known out there now. They're, you know, like really blowing up. It's like, well, how did they learn that? So, you know, and it's so much simpler than you think. And if you're finding you're procrastinating, you're not accountable, you can't seem to focus, one of the keys to the focus and accountability is having the support, having someone there guiding you the entire way. It's like, you know, learning anything new. You know, you don't just kind of learn how to be a nurse by taking a scalpel and like sticking it in someone. You go to nursing school. It's kind of the same thing with business. A lot of people are not born entrepreneurs. You're born as a healer. You're born as a creative. You're born as an intuitive. You're born as someone who's naturally good at helping others. But most people are not natural business people. That's why those of us who are natural entrepreneurs are here to help you, like me. So if you want freedom, you want to learn how to make money, you're in the right place. If you do not change direction, you may end up where you're heading. That, you guys, that quote, I've been working with this quote since 2011. When I first read that, I was like, whoa, that quote is really what changed me. I was like, if I don't change this now, I'm just going to be in this exact place, maybe making more money at a different job when I'm in my 40s or 50s or 60s even. So I was there too. How many of you heard my story already? I'm going to go over this kind of quick because it's in the first 2 sessions, but I'll just, you know, and there's always a different version every time you've heard it. But, you know, just so for those of you who are new, you know, I was programmed by my family and our society to believe that the answer to life was you go to college, you get a good job, you work, you buy some things, you get a house, and then, you know, you retire and then you die. And as a little kid, even though I wasn't told that specifically, I was programmed to believe like this is what you do as a person living in our society today. And as a little kid, I started, you know, I was on a spiritual path at a very young age. I could just feel things coming through me. And I started questioning everything around the age of 7, 8 years old. I was like, I remember feeling like, wait, this is what life is all about. I used to lay there on the grass in my backyard in the suburbs of California, wondering what life was all about and what was going on inside of our brains and why are we, like, what is this human experience? And I remember being like, wait, you come here just to work and buy things and then die? And then what happens when you die? I mean, I used to wonder this as a kid. I'm a Sagittarius. I don't know. Maybe that's why. I found out it's my Neptune placement is in a very, it's like Neptune conjunct Sun in the 12th house, something like that. I have this like very psychic spiritual conjunction. And since I was a kid, I really wondered about the meaning of life. And it just never made sense to me. But of course, I was raised with a lot of fear and programming. So I just did what I was told because I was so scared, even though I knew as a little kid I was here to be an entrepreneur. Me and my best friend, Laura, who is still a good friend of mine, you know, I've known her for 40 something years now. We used to play a game where we pretended to have our own businesses and fly around the world and live these like dream lives. And that's what we used to play when we were 7, 8, 9 years old. We used to, you know, have little stores and like sell things to our neighbors. And I knew I was here to help business. I didn't even know what that meant. I used to say like, I want to be the person behind a business that helps it grow. And then I went into the world of, you know, go to college and get a job. But I will say I started working with psychedelics in my teenage years. I had some very profound experiences at the age of 14, 15 years old that really woke up something in me that said, I know there's more that they aren't telling us. And there's more capacity that we have that we don't know about. I knew that in my very first psychedelic journey at the age of 14, that our minds and our beings are able to do so much more than they were sharing. But of course, I just kind of went the safe route. And what happened was, like probably a lot of you, I hated what I was doing. I pretty much hated my life. I was miserable all the time. So I numbed all my feelings with a lot of alcohol, with a lot of drugs, with a lot of, you know, earning a lot of money and spending a lot of money, you know, kind of getting caught up in this capitalistic society of just living in New York City and having to make a lot of money so we could just go spend a lot of money getting wasted and going out to dinner and going to parties to then feel better about the lives that we hated. So we're caught up in this cycle. And this, I say we, because this is a lot of our society, and especially a lot of where I lived, where it was like, work really hard so that we numb out how much we hate our lives. And my dad died when I was in my Saturn return at the age of 29, 30. And it really woke me up because he died very quickly after retirement, prematurely. And I was like, oh my God, my dad worked and retired, barely got to do anything, and then died. And I just knew something had to change. And that's when I really started feeling into like, where is my life going? Where do I want to be when I'm 45, 55, 65? Do I want to be 65 years old and miserable and then start to live my life and then die maybe? Like, come on. So I started just taking little steps. I had a lot of really profound spiritual awakenings at the time. I had many, but I kept going through, the next level, the next level. Of course, I was working with medicines and psychedelics, and these really woke up a lot in me. And I started seeing like, okay, well, if I don't actually make a change, I'm just going to end up where I'm heading. And I was starting to head for suicide or self-destruction, or just being in a life of, like absolute misery, and being in that cycle of like, okay, I'm just going to numb myself for the rest of my life. How many of you totally understand? Oh yeah, 14. Oh, thank you so much, Kate. I'm a godsend. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, I knew from a child that all wasn't right. Exactly. Like, it's like here's the thing. I believe our souls know what we're really here for on a deep, profound level. And then because of this noisy, crazy world that we're in, especially with a lot of, there's so much here to numb us all the time, including, the internet and social media and Netflix and whatever else people do. It's like everybody's just trying to avoid really feeling what is at the core, which is like, wow, wait a second, I'm actually here for something. So if we actually just take the time to stop, and this is what the beauty of working with psychedelics is like, if you sit in a ceremony or sit with a medicine and actually just feel what's actually coming through you, you start to see, I think it's my job that's making me miserable. It's not just that I'm depressed, it's that I hate my work, or it's I hate what I'm doing, or I don't have fulfillment. It's not depression, it's the root of what's causing the depression. So this is what happened to me. I ended up leaving my stable career. I went into early stage tech startups. I knew I was here to run a business. I started dreaming of my running clothing business 8 years before I launched it. So I launched it in 2012 or 13, like around that time. But 8 years I had been thinking of this. I'd wanted it. I could feel it. I just was scared to start it. And I don't know what it was, but it was part of it was like the programming, the fear. And then it was like, I was doing it all alone. But eventually the universe started doing things for me. I see this all the time. People lose jobs, people get sicknesses, they get some kind of weird accidents. I've seen people get chronic illnesses, even like sadly, like cancers, things that wake you up, that have you say something needs to change. For me, I got a near-death illness, I had a job loss, and I had profound spiritual awakenings. And it kind of got to the point where I knew I just needed to try something different. And that's when I started on the business that I've been dreaming of for 8 years, which is here. This is my running clothing business, which I ran for multiple years. And through that process, I was running my own business, doing it all by myself. I did every single aspect of that business, and I got it up and running to the point where, yeah, it was a real business, making sales, getting published in, the New York Post, like major magazines. And people kept coming to me and asking, how did you do it? I need help. Can you please help me? So I started helping people learn how to start their own businesses. They kept coming to me year after year after year, people, left and right. But what happened is I would give them hours of my time. I would sit there and have coffee with them and tell them, okay, here's what you do. Here's what you do. Go do this and this and this and this. And then I would run into them 6 or 12 months later and say, hey, how's your new business? And they'd say, I never started it. And I'm like, what? I just gave you all this time. You just go do it. And I realized that not a lot of people are born entrepreneurs, even if you tell them everything to do. But here's the problem. They had no accountability. They had no one walking them through the steps. And they felt very alone in the process. And they get stuck and then they just quit. And that's when I realized, oh, people need someone there to walk them through this, like through the way, step by step by step. So I said to myself, next person who asks me for help, I'm going to make them work with me for a few months. And I'm also going to charge them money so that they have some skin in the game. Because really, you don't take the help seriously until you're like, okay, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit on an energetic level. It's like the money is just money, but an energetic level to say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to trust this person knows what they're doing. I'm going to give this a try and follow the steps. That's how I got my first client. I started helping. It was actually my friend's little brother, someone I didn't even know. And then I started helping other people I knew. And lo and behold, I'm coaching. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a business coach. I had no idea this was a thing. I just started helping people and it lit me up and I loved it. And then I was helping some medicine friends of mine. I was helping herbalists and I was helping spiritual people. And I was like, how do I just help more people like this? I was already a coach for a few years. I had clients that were on the medicine path. And I could see that they were integrating their medicine work, their psychedelic experiences into their business. And what started coming through me, which, wasn't a decision, it just kept coming through me, was this idea of how so many people are doing psychedelics and working with plant medicines, but then they're going back to the same old over and over and over. I would see this within my own groups of friends, in ceremonies I would go to. People would go have these huge experiences with ayahuasca or psilocybin, and then they'd go back to the same old and nothing would change year after year after year, and they'd still be miserable. And I realized we need to integrate the psychedelic experiences into our work, into our careers, into our soul's work, our life's work, because we spend a third of our life working. So that's kind of how I became the psychedelic spiritual business coach on top of business coaching. And now, really the freedom is the one piece of abundance that I love the most. Yes, making money is great, but there's nothing like having your own business. So here's the thing. I learned the hard way. When I started my business, I did it all by myself. I wasted a lot of time and money. I made really bad decisions. Somehow I got it up and running and made it, like I made it to a certain level, but I wish I had had support. If I knew there was such a thing as a business coach back then, I would have hired them in a second. I eventually did hire a coach, and that is actually when things started turning around in my life, in my business, in my career, where I realized like, oh, this is the support I need. And, because doing it all alone is very challenging. And that's where people get stuck in loops and they realize, wow, why am I doing all these things and spending all this money and I'm not getting results? It's because you're not learning from someone that actually knows what they're doing, and you're not having the accountability inside of that container of support. So I learned a lot, and that's what I'm here to help people with. That's what I help my clients with. I make it so that you don't make the same mistakes, that you just get the straight path to the top of the mountain. It's like, I am just guiding you up like a Sherpa to the top of the mountain instead of you trying all these different trails that take you years to get there. This to me is the ultimate abundance, is my freedom. Every year I get to be offline. I get to work from warm places, Mexico, Costa Rica, wherever. I don't know where I'm going to go this year, hopefully somewhere warm. I get to work when I want, serve people I love, like have fun doing what I want. That's what it's all about. So I just want to share that this is all about bringing in both the masculine and feminine energies into your business. This is the root of everything I teach. And the reason why I teach this before we're going into, clarity, connection, communication, this is the basis of everything. So in order to have a business, especially a transformational type business like coach, healer, therapist, mentor, spiritual guide, whatever it is, it's you. It's people you're dealing with. It's not like you're just selling a thing on Amazon and hoping to make a quick buck. You are dealing with other people's hearts and souls. So it takes a certain amount of planning, action, structure, focus, like the steps, doing things, as I call it, like the earthly, masculine 3D things that are part of our reality today. You know, we can't deny that the internet exists, that money exists, that, you know, communicating with people is a thing. Somehow we have to be in an action to communicate. But behind the scenes, it's a 50-50 job. We also need to really be in touch with your intuition, to be aligned in your heart, to surrender and trust the process always, to be in that creative flow state of, okay, well, this is coming through me, to release the attachments, to trust yourself, to trust in life, to trust in, on a deeper level, why are you even here right now on earth? Like, that is a deep question. Like, why do you think you're alive right now in this crazy time in human history? Like, to really be in this multidimensional space of the feminine energetics of what is your heart and your soul? Like, what is calling you and pulling you to do? And release your attachments and just enjoy the journey. That is a big piece of it. So, important points for you to keep in mind. This is also a slide I keep in everything I teach, because this is, again, like the foundation of business. Remember that your business will always change. So for those of you who feel like, I need clarity first, I need to figure out what my business is before I join the mastermind, that is not true. Your business is always evolving and changing, just like you are. So it actually gives you a freedom to just know that, okay, today my business looks like this, and maybe in 3 days it'll be different. 3 months it'll be different. 3 years it'll definitely be different. I've run my group mastermind now for 7-8 years. It is different every year. If it was the same, it would like be stagnant and old weird energy. And that's me, who I was 8 years ago. Now I'm a totally different person, because we're different people every day. Every moment we're different. So that gives you a freedom to not attach to having everything perfect. Just let go and realize, like, okay, this is your business. It gets to evolve. It's like, how many of you have kids or a dog or a pet, and your pet changes, your kids grow, you know, the plants, your garden, like you plant a plant and it starts with a little seedling, and then, you know, it's 6 feet high. It's like anything in life, we're always evolving and growing. So this actually frees up your energy to just enjoy it and flow with it, and realize, like, oh, it's okay if I change this. So follow the joy, follow what's coming through you. You know, if you don't have a practice that quiets down your mind a little bit every day, that has you actually feel and actually start to notice, like, oh, there's something that's like pulling me. I don't know. It's this thing that keeps coming up, and maybe you don't want to believe it because it seems too good to be true, or it seems like, how can you make money from that? Or like, I want to be a heart-centered accountant and make accounting spiritual. How am I going to do that? That sounds like something no one would want. Well, it's coming through you over and over and over and over. Pay attention to that. It's called synchrodestiny. There's actually a name for it. Deepak Chopra wrote a book on it, but you know, it's like that synchronicity of your soul pulling you. Take action and then release it. Just keep taking action, release it, repeat, take action, release. You have to be in action as the masculine, feminine. You know, you can't really just meditate your way to business. I know one person who's done that, and it's taken him many, many years, and he barely makes money. But you know, if you are okay being on the poverty level for many, many years and just meditating your way to business, you probably could. But why suffer if there's an easier path that's actually like you're able to make a difference in the world in a bigger way? Be present, enjoy the journey, release your attachments, and remember that you are probably whatever's in the way of what it is you want. So in the end, when people say I'm stuck or I'm blocked, how many people here feel like you're blocked? I hear this all the time, like, oh, I'm blocked. Well, what's really blocking you? You know, is it something beyond you, or is it actually just you? You know, a lot of times it's just our mind that is taking control. You know, really in the end, Plato's allegory of the cave. Yeah. I do feel like I'm getting in my own way. In the end, We are whatever's in our way. There is nothing external controlling us. There really isn't. We allow control, or we allow ourselves to believe that, oh, I have to keep this job because what will my family think of me? Well, that's still your choice. There's nothing controlling you. So you are actually the creator of your life, and it is only your life. It is not anyone else's. So in the end, when you're in touch with like, oh my God, it's really me choosing to stay stuck, choosing to be blocked, choosing to not take action, choosing to not get support, choosing to be in my own, not saying you guys are, but like victim story of like, oh, well, if I didn't have this, or I have that, or, oh, I have that, it's like, well, you're still choosing to be a victim, not denying that you are, whatever. Like I've had clients with chronic illnesses, with major problems, challenges, single moms. I've seen everything, but it's always a choice to choose to let those keep holding you back, or choose to take steps despite your current situation or your current reality, your current circumstance. So you can live from circumstances, or you can live from potential. And this is what I'm all about, is living from this next level place of like, what is it you want to be doing in a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? You guys think about your age right now. Ask yourself, okay, how old am I now? Let's say you're 42 years old. Okay, where do you want to be when you're 50? Yeah, you might think, oh, I'd love to retire. Okay, let's get real. How many people have been able to retire at the age of 50? I don't really know many people. I know some people who could, that don't. And do you really want to retire at 50? What are you going to do? So if you're 35 and you say like, where do you want to be when you're 45 years old? Like really feel into that and ask yourself, okay, am I choosing to just stay stuck for another 10 more years or even 20 more years? Or am I going to start making changes to actually create the life I want now? Yeah. Yeah, Sharon, don't worry. We get into this inside of my program. If you're 30 years old, imagine, what do you want to be doing when you're 40, 45? Not many people really retire in their mid 40s like we all dream of doing. Like, let's get real. We live in a world where things cost money. And also, like, what else are you going to do? Like in the end, people dream of like just chilling on a beach. Okay, well, there's also this reality of the world we live in. So imagine yourself 10 years from now. Like, what do you want to be doing? And what are you waiting for? You're just going to wait 5 more years to start that? Or are you going to just take action now so that you can get there quicker? Because the reality is, when you start your business earlier, it's only going to be bigger later. But when you wait 3 years, 5 years to start it, it's just like, okay, now you're just waiting. Why wait? I always wonder what people are waiting for. Like people say, oh, I'm waiting to save up a bunch of money. Well, how long have you been saying that? 10 years? I'm waiting for, my job, I'm waiting for blah, blah, I'm waiting to buy a house first. It's like, okay, well, actually, what if your business is the way to buy your house? I make way more money than I ever did working for one of the biggest companies on planet Earth. I could name the name. I don't want to name their name. I've worked for some of the largest corporations that are like Fortune 100 corporations that are worth billions. Why is it that now I make way more money now than working for one of those billion-dollar multinational corporations? What happens is, when you work for others, they put limits on you. Even CEOs of large companies have limits. They cap out at a certain amount of money. And how many of you are really on the path to being a CEO of a multinational corporation that's making, they're going to pay you $800,000 with a, $2 million bonus, or whatever they get, 10 million. Even that caps you out. But as an entrepreneur, it is limitless. You can make as much money as you want. One of my friends was over here last night, and she's doing very, very, very well. She is friends with an entrepreneur who's very well known out there, who is in the multi-millions. You know what she is? She's a coach. She is a coach in the multi-millions. She has 600-acre property in Costa Rica that she's developing a retreat center on now. The woman is just a human being who started as a coach. It's limitless, you guys. She has millions of followers. She's like a friend of my good friends, you know? It is limitless. And I want you to see that, you know, and she's not like a scammy coach. She's a coach that actually is amazing and making a difference in the world. Same with my friend who's blown up. She's really making a profound difference in the world. Same with me and the work I do. It's like, I have no problem sharing that I made, I don't even know now, like $400,000 to $500,000 last year. Because you know what? I don't even care about the money. I make a freaking difference in the lives of my clients. When I see my clients speaking on a stage at Psychedelic Science, I'm like, that right there is what I'm here to do. One of my clients was on a stage at Psychedelic Science this year. One of my clients is publishing a book. Well, one of my former clients. Like, it's amazing to see people blowing up. And, you know, it is possible for you too. So I just want to share this for those of you that weren't in the first two sessions. This is also the foundation of what I teach. You are here on one side of the golden triangle. Your business has to light you up first and foremost. It is not about what makes you the most money quickest. It's not about what other people want from you. It starts with you. Then it's about connecting to the kind of people you want to work with. So yes, it is also about the ideal clients or the ideal people you're here to serve. And then it's also about this deeper mission, this deeper why. Why are you here to do what you're here to do? Why is it you're feeling inspired to help people? Why is it that you are even alive right now? How many of you actually question this on a kind of a regular basis? Why is there even alive right now in this world? Why are you incarnated here now? What is your deeper mission? And don't worry, not everybody's mission is to, you know, be a person with millions of followers and help everybody and blah, blah, blah. You know, maybe you're here to just help one person at a time. Maybe you're here to just create beautiful art. Maybe you're here to make a difference in your local community. I do believe that we are all here to plant these seeds. And if all of us just do our part to help one human being at a time, it creates a larger domino effect on planet Earth. So I don't care if I help 80 people in 1 year and 1,000 people another year and 10 people another year. What matters to me is one human being at a time, their lives being touched. Some of you even right here on this workshop have said, I really needed this today. You're inspiring me. You know what? That is what creates the domino effect on planet Earth. And you're not even paying me a dime, and that's okay. I'd be happy if you joined my mastermind. I don't care if you do, because I'm here to serve my mission. And that's where I want you guys to get to this deeper place of really feeling like, you know what? I made a difference in my one friend's life. I've made a difference in my family member's life. I've helped my coworker. And now, what if you got paid to do that? What if you got paid to then help not just your coworker, not just your friend, but like 5 more people, 6, 7, 8 more people? What if you were making now $9,000, $10,000 a month helping those people? Next thing you know, you're like, wow, I'm making $20,000 a month helping just a handful of people on planet Earth. How would you feel if that was your reality? What if you, one heart at a time. What if, yes, you want to get started, struggling, hoping to work out a solution? Yes, I have payment plan solutions, and I also have ways for you to just see this all differently. Yes, you can work with me one-on-one. It costs more, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Don't worry. So I want you to also realize what I'm teaching in these first 3 workshops is like so much gold that you, like, if you actually just start to make these internal shifts on an energetic level, you will start to see your reality change. Yes, and then if you actually get coaching help from me, it's a whole other realm. But anyways, so I'm just getting really deep here because it's like on such a deeper level. It's like, yes, there's a business, but it's not just about marketing or posting things on social or whatever it is. It's so much deeper than that. And if you actually start with the energetic shifts, you will start to see the signs. You will start to see the reality change. And when you start to see your reality shift even a little, that's when you're like, wow, what would happen if I actually got support? This could be real. One of my clients sent me a message the other day saying, I'm aiming for a $24,000 a month. And I'm like, yeah, easy. You know, in my mastermind, she had a $13,000 a month. She's like, oh my God, you know, like she was asked to speak on conferences, on stages. And, you know, it's like, but a year before, that was not her reality. You know, one of my other clients was like filling up retreats. One of my clients in the mastermind right now is leading her first international retreat in Peru. And she said a few weeks ago, she's like, Beth, my vibration and the amount of abundance and goodness coming into my life is so much, it's almost so intense for me. It's like she hadn't experienced this level of like ease of receiving, of living her dreams. And it was actually hard for her to realize like, wow, I am literally living my dreams. She filled a group program. She has private clients. She's leading retreats. And now her first international retreat. It's not even been a year yet. And it's like, whoa, imagine what that would be like. Okay, so I'm just recapping session 1. Clarity, I highly recommend if you did not watch session 1, just set aside time to watch it. You can skip over parts you don't resonate, but like listen to the part where we get into the clarity. And I want you to see how clarity is an actual conundrum of the mind. So people think I can't start my business until I'm clear. So here's where people get stuck in this conundrum. And unfortunately, I've seen people get stuck for years thinking, I can't take steps on my business because I'm not clear. So then they start thinking, I need clarity. I need clarity. I need to figure out my business. I need to know what my business looks like first. And they think this over and over and over and over and over. And a year, 2 years, 3 years goes by and they're still don't have a business. They're still stuck. But what it is, it's your mind. It's our monkey mind is so powerful that it actually ruins our lives. So when you start to see that your mind is telling you that you need to know this, which by the way is the ego part of the mind, it's designed to keep us safe. It is, you know, the amygdala is this lizard reptilian part of our brain that is like always on guard, that is always like trying to just keep us protected. But that is the most ancient part of our brain, of our mind, that is designed to just be like on guard all the time. So what's happening is your mind is just trying to keep you stuck. But if you actually are able to step out and detach yourself from that part of your mind that's stuck in the loops of thinking you need clarity first, you need clarity first. Well, actually, if you step out and start taking actions which are body-based, they're somatic, energetic, experiential feelings of doing, which is step number 1 that I teach, step number 2 that I teach you, step number 3, what happens is during those steps, the embodied feelings, the felt sensations, the somatic experiences of feeling, oh my God, I can help people. I can do this. I'm starting to get clarity. That is when the clarity comes through. And that's when you can actually get the confidence and you can start to see, oh, that's just the monkey mind is just trying to control me. So that's why the answer to having clarity in your business is actually getting these steps. That's where people, it's like you can choose to be in the conundrum forever in those loops of clarity, or you can choose to actually be in action, which is the solution to your clarity. And in step number 1 is when you start to get your confidence. It's when the imposter syndrome starts to melt away. So just really know that it's like we are just so like caught up in our monkey minds controlling us. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, money has nothing to do with freedom. You are totally right. And yeah, 600 acres, yeah, it's meaningless and it's a nice thing. But to me, the abundance, the truest abundance is living the truth of your heart. Like to me, the money is great. Like I love the money, but honestly, the more money I make, the more I just don't need it and don't care. But what happens is when you're living your truth and your purpose, and you are really in that golden triangle of a deeper mission and a deeper place of service, the irony is the money just comes in so much easier. My friend who was here last night, I mean, when I met her, she was broke ass, like broke but talented. I remember she was like super struggling hippie. She's a very close friend of mine. You might even know her because she's very well known on the social media and all that. She was in my summit. Broke ass hippie, barely making money, and now she's about to do something like with Deepak Chopra's work. You know, she works with like famous people. You know what? She doesn't even care. It's like, because she's so in her heart and living her truth, the money just like lands in her lap. Like people are just like giving her opportunities. One of my other friends, so connected to her purpose, people just throw money at her to build things, to buy land, to build a Maloka. It's like, she doesn't even ask. People actually say to her, how can I support you? And they actually just give her money. It's amazing to watch. And by the way, it's like, and again, it's the money's just nice, but it's the support from the universe. It's like literally, you're here to help make a difference in the lives of others. I believe spirit wants that supported. And what happens is things like magic starts coming in. Like you get offered opportunities, you get offered to work at a healing center, you get offered to help build some, you know, I'm part of a nonprofit that I believe like deeply in. It's like all of a sudden it just lands in my lap. I've always wanted to help something like that. And now it's like, oh, here it is. Okay, it's just in my lap. I didn't do anything to make it happen either. It just appeared. And I'm like, yeah, I'll help out. So that's what the divine abundance is really all about. It's like, what do you want for your life? Like, yeah, money is money, of course. You know, to me, money is a way to make bigger change on planet Earth. For example, the nonprofit I'm a part of, yeah, we are buying up land to preserve in the Amazon and the rainforest, well, in the jungle where we go, because it's in danger of being clear-cutted by industrial agriculture. And I'm like, holy shit, the stuff you hear about on the news, it's actually happening to a place that I go. And the only way to stop that from happening is to purchase the land and put it into a trust that is run by an NGO that we've already established in Peru. But we need money to do that, which is coming through then other people's money to purchase the land and hold it sacred as a center that is going to be just reforested with old growth trees that would otherwise be burned down for, you know, McDonald's to make hamburgers. So that is where I'm like, this is where money means a lot to me. Not to buy stupid shit on Amazon. My friend came over last night. She hadn't been to my house before, one of my other friends. She's like, Beth, wow, you're really inspiring me because you have like nothing. I actually like don't like having things. I have like minimal, but I have beautiful things I love. And that's what it's about. Is it's not about making the money to buy a bunch of stupid shit and have some expensive whatever. It's about, what do you believe in? What are your values? And that's why I want all my clients to be well supported, to be out there in the world making a difference in the lives of others, and have all the abundance that they desire. And it doesn't mean gouging people. You guys, my mastermind costs like 50% less than, or more than that, than most business masterminds out there that are similar. You know, most business masterminds that are live, that are taught by the actual coach, non-online course, that are a year-long deep transformational program, and I don't know any others that are at the level of like depth that I go into, they're usually like 30, 40, 50,000. Mine is 11,000. By the way, it's $9.99 a month. It's not 11,000. There's many different ways, but the minimum I have found is $25,000. And I'm like, mine's like a fraction of the cost. You know, I could charge easily $30,000, but I choose not to. Simple. So there is a way to have a value aligned business, and that is what I teach. So I also went over, so we went over connection. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. I want to make sure, I'm going to stop my share because I think I actually pulled up the wrong PDF, you guys. Hold on a second. I have so many PDFs that I want to make sure I pull up communication. Oh, wait, here. If you did not watch session number 2, please go back and watch the section on connection. So it goes clarity, connection, communication. Today, we're diving deep into communication. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit here because we went over a lot of this. So recap connection. Here's the reality. If you want to, oh, wait, hold on. Are you seeing my screen? It says it's not being shared. Hold on. Gotta love technology. Perpetual Mercury retrograde, as I call it. Okay, so clarity, connection, and communication equals clients. The 3 C's, the 4th C. You have to have a way to connect with human beings if you want to work with human beings. It's super simple. No, it does not mean social media. No, it does not mean TikTok. No, it does not mean you need a website. It just means there has to be a way to have a heart connection to other human beings if you want to work with human beings. It's just the reality, right? If you sit at home and meditate 24/7, you say, I want 10 clients, I want 10 clients, I want 10 clients, but you never leave your home ever, and you never talk to people ever, and you don't do anything on the internet at all ever, and you don't go out there in community, how are you ever going to meet a human being to work with? Here's the thing. I have worked with total introverts. I have worked with people that are not on social media. I've had clients. I had a client that took herself completely off the internet for 3 months, but she had first done the first 3 steps I taught. Then she went off the internet, but she was out in reality. She was out in the world talking to people. She made $9,000 in a moment. She came back from from her internet break for 3 months. I was like, oh my God, guys, I just got a client paying me $9,000. How do you explain that? Well, she did the first few steps. She learned the foundation of how to build a business, which is clarity, connection, communication. And in that, how to create, price, and package a program, learn how to effectively communicate to your ideal clients so that they actually want to pay you $9,000 more or less, whatever, for your offer. Voila, that's how she did it. She didn't even need to be on the internet. So just know that what I teach does not have to involve social media. But here's the thing. Social media is a part of it if you want it to be. If you don't want to be on social media, yes, there are many other ways. I talk about that, and that is what we go into inside of my group mastermind program. I will say right now, start with one clear core offer. Do not worry about every detail of it. Do not plan out everything you're going to say on a call with someone. You do not need to know the details of your offer ever. You do not need to know this right now. Just start with something and just remind yourself it's just today. Start with, if someone was going to ask you to help them today, if your best friend calls you up today and says, hey, I need help because I had a really intense psychedelic journey last night, I need help integrating it, how would you help them? Voila, that's your psychedelic integration offer. Today, don't worry. Stick with what it is in the present moment. This is all a presence practice. Being really attuned with the very present moment of where you're at in this moment right now. Do not get caught up in where you are 6 years from now or 3 months from now. It doesn't matter. Stay present. Connect your offer with these kind of clients that you want to work with. So imagine, what kind of people do you love working with the most? Think of your best friend. Think of the people you've helped. How many of you, I'm curious, type in the chat, how many of you have found that you've helped people naturally over the years? Like in the last 2 or 3 years, how many people have come to you like, hey, I'm going through something. Can I talk to you? I'm stuck. Oh my God, I need help. How many of you are naturally that kind of like that person? Yeah, that, you know, your whole life. Totally. Here's the thing. I was like that too. I was literally like always that friend, like since I was a little kid, where people would just open up and tell me everything. And I'd always just be like holding the space and providing like, you know, intuitive feedback. You are literally already coaching people. The only difference is you haven't embodied it and made it official. But really, like, Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you don't help other people. It doesn't mean that I don't help my friends. It just means if you're already doing it naturally, there is something to that, you know? So really, this is the same thing, is ask yourself, like, what is it that they're saying to you all the time? What is it that they're going through? What is it that, you know, how do you help people going through this and that? Like, I'm stuck, I'm feeling this, I'm suffering from this. You have to then learn how to effectively communicate what it is you're offering to what it is that they want and need. And that communication, it's like we live in a realm of communication. We are connected to one another, whether we want to believe it or not. And, you know, on a deeper, profound level, we are spiritually, energetically connected to all. So technically, you don't even need to communicate, but there has to be an energetic communication as well, because we're all interconnected. And if you're here to help call in, you know, your first 3 clients, how are you going to energetically even communicate to them? Like, hey, I am ready. I am here to help people who are going through this, this, and this, and this is how I am going to help those people. So yes, energetic communication, also real physical communication, because that is how human beings connect. Like we speak through language, we speak through our energy, we have unspoken communication. And when you have both the energetic communication and the physical effectiveness of knowing how to really reach people's hearts so that they feel you, they trust you, they feel your energy, they're like, wow, I really feel like, you know, Sharon gets me and offers something. I want to maybe work with her. Like there's something, sometimes they can't even explain it. It's the same reason why your friends or your coworkers, or even how many of you guys have had random strangers? That's when it gets like, okay, I met a random stranger who's opening up and telling me all these things. You know, there's something to this. They're feeling something in you. And now what it is in my mastermind, I'm here to help you make this into something that actually can be something you do and offer and put out there in the world to help more people and actually be energetically and, you know, actually physically compensated back for all of your energy that you put out there all these years. It's like, yeah, you can totally go help people for free. And, or you could also go make this into something where you're actually creating a bigger impact. Because here's the thing, when people pay you, and it doesn't, you know, again, like if you want to throw away money, fine, like they don't have to pay you, but when people give you something in return for what you're giving back, it is an equal energy exchange. That's all money is like, okay, now they're investing into something that they see valuable. And when they invest into it, they take it more seriously, they listen on a different level, and then they actually get greater results. So when you give advice for free, have you noticed that a lot of times people don't take your advice? You know, maybe the random stranger is, yeah, like they share with you. Yeah. How many of you have noticed that? Like you know, like one of my best friends, right? One of my closest friends for years asked me for business help over and over and over and over and over. And I noticed nothing was changing. I finally said to her, and I love her so dearly, I was like, Marina, join my mastermind. It's driving me crazy. You have to just join my mastermind. She joined my mastermind. She actually didn't do a thing in the mastermind. She even said, I'm not going to do anything because I'm not really ready, but I know I have to learn this. Guess what? 2020, she loses her job. She's kind of at her final limits of like, I am not going to work this. She was actually also a nurse in that industry of healthcare. She's like, this is so misaligned with who I am and the spiritual medicine path I'm on. And I'm telling you, she's literally living her dream now. She's doing exactly what she came to my mastermind to do. She is putting on her own retreats. She said in the mastermind, how do I make my music a living? Of course, there's this theory like, oh my God, I can't make music and make a living off of it. She is now teaching. She is holding space for people. She does a variety of psychedelic integration, her music, teaching, and does this vocal journey work. that is kind of like a somatic coaching, experiential, vocal transformation type thing that it's called Voice Journey. And she is now doing it. And it's like, you know, that's what happened. It's like, okay, I was helping her naturally. Then it's like, girl, pay me. She paid me and now she's actually doing it. So there is a reality to when people invest into your help, they actually get more results. This is why, have you ever noticed, for any of you who've taken money from people, when you charge very little, like maybe you did a healing session that was only $60 or donation only, you know, a lot of times people are like, nah, it was good, but it wasn't that good. But if you're charging a premium or they're like investing and they're like, yeah, I want this, why is it then all of a sudden they're like, wow, that was so amazing? You know, and it's, again, it's not about just taking money from everybody. You guys can see here, I have a program that is $9.99 a month. I have, you know, a private program that costs even more than that. I have an online thing that's only $4.44. I have a free summit. I have a paid summit that's $57. And then I offer tons of free things. So what I do is I'm able to serve people at all levels. That's what I teach my clients to do, where you are actually honoring the fact that I am here making a difference in the lives of others for free. No money. I'm not asking any of you for money. If you want to join my mastermind, great. It's a freaking amazing community and it's deeply transformational and you will get results if you actually just show up. But if you don't want to pay, that's fine. I'm still serving you. So I teach you how to build a business that really aligns with your values where, yeah, you can make, you know, I have clients that were charging, you know, $1,500 a month for their clients and they were making, you know, $10,000, $15,000. Great. You can do that. And you can also offer free things. It is about you running a business that aligns with your value system. But here's the thing. You need to be supported in order to support people. Meaning if I didn't have financial abundance and energetic abundance and spiritual abundance, I wouldn't be able to go on my medicine work that I do multiple times a year. I wouldn't be able to do the training programs I do. I wouldn't be able to do the, you know, weekly somatic therapy I do, which I actually bring into the work I do with clients. And so it's this cycle of I invest into myself to be able to better serve. So therefore, my clients are better able to serve. And this is how we actually create a transformed planet. And I really want you to see this is about large scale change and living the life that you love. So know that communicating what it is you offer is a foundation of everything. Meaning if you go meet someone in the grocery store line, they start opening up to you about, I don't know, them feeling like they have no meaning in life and they really feel like they need to find their purpose, and you're a coach helping people find their purpose. Well, how do you communicate to them so that they know that you can help them, so that they can hire you, that they can pay you money to work with you? This is the foundation of everything you'll ever put out there on social media, on your website. For those of you that think, oh, website will get me clients, my first question is, do you know what to even say on your website? How many of you, if I paid for your website and you were going to put it up today, how many of you actually know what to write on there? Like, would you know what to even, do you know how to explain what it is that you do? Do you know how to explain how you help people? This is where the depth of clarity around your communication and also effective communication, so that people really resonate with you and understand what it is you offer. This is where it's so important. So you could go put on workshops left and right. You can go make a really beautiful website that costs $5,000 or more. But if people read your website and they're still like, I don't understand what they offer, it's not going to help you. Starting a podcast, speaking on podcasts, blog posts, doing videos, doing social media, speaking in your local community, going and, you know, meeting people in an event you do. Jenna says, actually, can you hold that? I'm going to answer a question in a minute when we get to Q&A. Actually, if anybody has questions and answers, please leave them in the Q&A and I'm going to answer anything you want in just 2 or 3 minutes. But remember that you have to learn how to effectively communicate, especially if you don't know what it is you offer and how you can explain what it is you do. This is why it's really important to do these steps of clarity, connection, communication. It is the core of everything you do. I actually have a diagram explaining this is the root chakra. So in order to go into the other chakras, which is, the marketing, the heart, where the money is, the sales, the energetics of, speaking out there in the world, you have to know how to effectively understand what it is your ideal clients want and how you need to be that bridging your offer to what it is that they want. And that is done through the form of communication, both in your language, in your writing, and in your energy. So authentic communication, this is one thing to remember. This is the core of everything I teach. Everything that you say and do and even energetically speak out there has to be from your authentic truth. So what is actually going to make your business super successful out there in the world is you being you, not you trying to be that girl that you see on Instagram that's running around in a bikini in Costa Rica. It's not you trying to be that famous influencer. It's not you trying to make memes because you see other people making memes. It's not you doing a certain kind of reel dancing because you see other people dancing. It's you being your authentic truth. So for me, how many of you have seen me dance on Instagram? I've never danced on Instagram in my life. And honestly, I dance all the time. That's the irony, is I actually love dancing and I go to a static dance at least seems like every few weeks. But I don't post pictures of myself doing it. I don't know why, just whatever. But I'm out there with my beehives and my garden. I don't know, do some kooky things. I've sung. I usually am just out there talking about business because this is a huge passion of mine, but I am just me, and people constantly say it like, wow, you seem so real. You're so authentic. I'm like, yeah, because I actually have always been that way. And why should I pretend to be anything I'm not? Because people read and they feel the bullshit. And I hate to even use that word bullshit, but they see and feel your authenticity. And that's what the resonation comes in at. So if you're like, like an introvert who wants to just speak about like one little thing and you only want to do it through writing, that is okay. People that feel that, people that resonate with that, they will attract to you. But it's like everybody has a different attraction point, and it is not your goal to attract and communicate to all 8 billion people on planet Earth. Your job is to communicate to just the group of people that you want to help the most. And that's it. That's why it's not about having a gigantic amount of followers. If you look at my following, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars with like 2,000 followers. It's not about the numbers. It's about who you're bringing in, who you're attracting in. One of my former clients from the mastermind program had barely any followers. She had like a few hundred here and a couple hundred there. But she was very good at knowing who she was and who she was speaking to and who she wanted to attract in. And because of that, she attracted client after client after client. And she was not afraid to be herself. And she was also not afraid to say things that maybe people didn't agree with. The reality is, you're not here to please all 8 billion people, and you're not here to get 8 billion clients. Even my friends that are big and famous and doing really well, they don't serve 8 billion people. My friend has 300,000 followers and has people from all over the world. It's not the whole world, and then there's people that hate her. Even her other friend who's like this famous coach out there with 1 million followers, people don't resonate. Some people do and some don't. That's how it goes. You are not here to please everybody. So remember, you're only here to communicate with, I actually want you to think of it as a handful. Like you could have a handful, 2 handfuls of clients and make 6 figures. It's, it's like, it's not about serving thousands of people. It's not a numbers game. It's a quality game and it's a resonation game. It's an energetic communication resonation. clarity, connection, communication. That's all that matters, is because when you're clear and you're connected to the kind of people that you want to serve, you can have a great multiple six-figure business with a very small group of people. It's the trust, it's the resonance. It's not about being famous. It's not about being an influencer. It's not about having to make a bunch of videos and look a certain way. Yeah, so many .coms. Yeah, please don't buy more URLs. There's no reason to buy URLs. You just need one that aligns with you, and don't worry, if someone, quote, steals your website, it's not going to matter. It's you. You know, this is honestly the one website I recommend people buy is just their name.com. If your name's taken, like my name was, because the other Beth Weinstein, who funny enough is actually like a financial coach, she took bethweinstein.com. I'm Beth A. Weinstein. My real name's Elizabeth A. Weinstein. I could have bought that. It doesn't matter. You know, it's the website is not going to make you a dime in the end. You know, the reason my website maybe calls in a few clients is that I've been doing this for a very long time. And I also know what I'm doing when it comes to certain things that have to do with being found on the internet. But in the end, it's not about that. And that's something I teach in my mastermind, you know, how to make the most of your website so it does get you clients, but you do not need a website yet. Perfect timing, because this is what you do not need. This is where I've had people during my workshops tell me, thank you so much. You just saved me like $5,000, because usually to put up a good website is in the thousands. And please, if you do go put up a website, do not use Squarespace or Wix or Weebly. Ugh, don't even get me started. It's something I teach in the mastermind. It's just, you know, people waste so much money and time and energy on websites that it's like, and then they're like, oh my God, I put in all this time and energy and money. Why do I have no clients? So you do not need to know all the details of what you offer. You do not need to know how your program looks or how it's going to look in 6 months or everything you're going to do with a client, because you never know what you're going to do with a client until you start to work with them. So worry about attracting the client in first, and then you can figure out what it's about. And here's the thing, even my mastermind, I always know what I'm going to teach, but I can never actually know what to teach until I'm feeling the entire energy of the group and knowing where they're at. Because if I went like this and taught, okay, this is next, 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 and my clients were still at step number 2, but I was at step number, 22, they would have nervous system overload. They would get adrenal fatigue. They would get burnout, and then they would just quit. And there are coaches that do that, because I've actually worked with them before. I am not that coach, because I am very attuned with the energetics of where my clients are at. And I'm here to get you out of your comfort zone and take steps that are like new and scary, but I'm not here to burn you out and overload your nervous system, because that will fail your business. Unfortunately, there are coaches that don't understand that, and they are so masculine that they actually just drive people into this place of either burnout, overwhelm, or like just nervous system, adrenal fatigue. Or what they do is they make it move so fast that they make you buy another program with them. And that is bullshit. Because I actually have some coaches that tried doing that, and I was like, oh my God, what they do is they teach so much content so fast that then they make it where you buy another program, you buy another 6 months, you buy another 3 months. And I'm like, I don't do that. What I'm here to do in my mastermind program, my goal is to empower you to be able to go run your business on your own without me and without any other coaches. And if you want to expand, yeah, then you can go hire a coach or go, learn something else or work with me again on a new level, but you never need to. Because that, again, I'm a truth teller. I'm like, I want my clients to leave as real entrepreneurs with a real business where they are empowered to look inwards and actually have all the tools to then be able to go make money over and over and over and over and over and over and over by just going and continuing and doing it again. So yes, my mastermind is 12 months, but it's not 12 months of results. It's a lifetime of results. That's why I always say, okay, it's 11,444 or $999 a month. You know, think about it. What's $11,000 when you make $200,000 or $300,000 a year? It's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. Return on your investment, ROI. You do not need tons of followers. You do not need TikTok. You do not need huge audience. You do not, please do not spend money on ads. The only people that should be spending money on any ads are people that have proven their business. Meaning, I did not actually spend money on ads till last year, and that was only for my summit. You know, please don't spend money on ads. They don't work, especially if you don't know what it is you're offering and how to effectively communicate. And when I say effectively communicate, you have to have proven that you got clients from your effective communication, and then later you can put money into ads. But please don't waste money on that yet. I don't teach that. I teach how to do it when you're ready to, but I usually teach like, okay, do it in 3 or 4 years. You do not need any complicated technology or any complicated funnels. I don't even use the word funnel because it's ridiculous. There's no need for anybody in their first few years to have anything complex. I teach one little funnel about 7 months into the program when you need it, and it's so easy and it costs you nothing. And it's, I don't even call it a funnel. It's just a way to build your audience. You do not need to hire anybody. You do not need an assistant yet. I do teach you how to go hire people when it's time, but most people do not need someone in their first 1 or 2 years. Or, you know, wait until you get a certain amount of clients or make a certain amount of money, then you can invest into other things in your business. You do not need a YouTube channel. And if you have one, then okay, great, but it's not the quickest way to build your business. It's actually one of the slowest ways to build your business. So I teach you, if you want that, great. I teach you how to make it effective, but you do not need that. Do not need any fancy equipment. I am using my Mac Air from 2 or 3 years ago, however old it is, I don't even know. A little light that cost me $5 and a microphone that is one of these cheapy things because I don't use Bluetooth. You do not need anything fancy. Oh yeah, and then I use my phone, which is an iPhone. I don't know. It's not even the good one. It's the one from a year and a half ago. You know, it's like, and by the way, I also use a pad and paper and a pen, pad of paper and a pen. So remember, you don't need all that. This is the basis of everything I teach in private or mastermind coaching. It's the root chakra up. For any of you who've done a lot of yoga or studied on a spiritual path or an ancient wisdom of how the chakra system works, it's the same exact thing in business. You have to start at the root. It's like building a house. You cannot build a new home by picking out the furniture first. You build a new home by buying a piece of land, drawing up a design, then they build, dig a hole, they pour the concrete foundation first. What happens with a lot of people who start their businesses, how many of you have started a business and kind of done things for like 1 or 2 years, maybe a little bit? A lot of people start their business at the kind of sacral chakra, or they skip the foundation. And what happens is they can't figure out why they're not getting clients and why they're not making money. It's because they never learn the root chakra of their business, and they didn't establish the clarity, the connection, the communication, the systems, the structures, the support, so that your business runs on its own and you get it set up the right way from day number 1. But what happens is a lot of people come to me after 1, 2, 3 years and they're like, oh my God, I haven't figured this out. I haven't done this and I'm kind of winging it on my own. That's why, it's because you've never learned how to get the foundation in place. It's like they built a house by putting up the roof and the walls first, but then it's like sinking into the ground because there's no actual foundation holding up the walls or the roof or the furniture. It's just falling in the mud. So please learn from others who have done this before. This is the thing. I know everybody's like, oh my God, $9.99 a month and $11,000 is so expensive. Here's the thing. This investment is the shortcut to making more money. There's no other way to say it. I am literally giving you the steps to be able to have a business that is making you the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if I said, okay, you invest $11,000 so that you get a handful of clients and now you're making $90,000. Let me ask you, does investing, let's say $12,000 to make $90,000, is that a good investment? I mean, I'm curious, do you guys think that's a good investment? If I said you make $12,000 to then go earn 50,000 and then 100,000 and then 220,000 and then 350,000, then 440,000, and then the next year 550, and then maybe you decide to coast for a while and you're like, oh, you know what, I'll stay around like $500,000 range for a year or two, and then maybe I'll up level and make 7, 8, 9. I'm curious if $12,000 is a lot when you're making 100, 200, 300, 400 each year after year after year. It's a super basic thing. It's called return on investment. And here's the thing. If you want to be supported by your business, I don't care if you work with me or not, work with someone that knows what they're doing and how to teach you how to get there. Because unless you are born a natural entrepreneur, and this is where I always say, if you knew what you were doing, wouldn't you have already done it by now? It's like, it's kind of, and I don't say this to scare you, it's just a very basic thing. Like, if you knew how to get it started, structure it the right way, get certain foundations in a place, learn how to attract in clients. Like, if you knew how to attract in the exact clients you wanted to work with, how to charge for it, how to package and price and create an offering that actually sells, wouldn't you have already done it? And if you've tried it on your own, why aren't you really being supported by it? So that's where I say, like, it's time. And here's the thing, you guys, I really believe we are at this super pivotal time on the planet. And whether you guys agree with me or not, we cannot deny that things are changing. We cannot deny that there's like a huge shift taking place, for better or worse. I believe it's going into a positive direction. At the same time, there are a lot of challenges coming up. There are a lot of energetic shifts happening that not a lot of people have an easy time with. We are at this point in history where people need help to make sense of what is happening on planet Earth and also with their own lives. People are sick of being part of the rat race. They're sick of the BS. They are tired of feeling depressed, anxious, suffering. People are, we have a mental health crisis. People are living like isolated, disconnected, lonely, unfulfilling lives more than ever, and they need help. It's like you guys, some of it, like, again, like my friends, some of my clients, a bunch of my clients have gotten maxed out, meaning they could not actually take any more private clients because they were just at their max. I have had healers that I've worked with for years who used to just be like so easy to get an appointment with that are booked out now months in advance because so many people want to heal. They want to figure out what's wrong. They're sick of it. They're just at the breaking point and they need help. Especially then you throw in psychedelics, you throw in plant medicines, you throw in spiritual awakenings, you throw in breath work, you throw in people having these huge transformational experiences on retreats, with meditation, with anything. And they're realizing like, wow, I need help to make sense out of this and to make changes in my life because I just had this powerful retreat. I just went through this breathwork experience. I just had a spiritual awakening. I just am processing through a lot of collective grief. I just had a job loss. I just had friends die. I mean, you guys, I know 2 people that died in the last 2 weeks, very early, by the way. There's a lot of grief happening. There's a lot of, we cannot deny, I don't know. I'm a believer in like, we don't actually know what's happening on planet Earth. So I never say, oh, there's climate change. I don't know. All we know is things are changing. We don't know what it's from. It doesn't matter what it's from. All we know is We feel it in our bones. Everybody feels it in our cells that we are going through a massive transformation. You know, it's not just COVID, it's like beyond that. It's systems, it's consciousness, it's the earth itself. There are fires, I don't even have to go on. What I'm saying is people need help processing through being a human alive on planet Earth, and that is it. And a lot of times all they need is you to just sit and hold that space. There is nothing you need to do. You don't need to be trained in 20 things. You don't need to go through 50 years of certification programs. You are qualified to help people today. And this is where I stand for. It's time for people to get help so you can help others, because I actually believe we're kind of in this crisis situation where we need more healers, we need more coaches, we need more space holders, we need people to make a difference in the world. So I implore you to learn from someone, whether it's me or someone else. I'm happy to even give you the names of other people. This is how detached I am from you joining my program. I will give you a list of like a whole list of other business coaches that I'm friends with. And some I'm not even friends with, that I just give their names. Get some help, because the planet needs you and humans need you. And I'm telling you, when you work with someone that guides you through the steps, it is the way to just making it easy and doing it fast and making a difference, which then supports your life quicker and it supports others quicker. And that's where I'm like, oh my God, people need help. And I know this, like I sit in medicine space as a helper a lot, and I see what people are going through, and it's like, oh my God. And not just medicine space, just spaces. People are going through a lot, and it's time that everybody steps up and actually does it. Like, what are we waiting for? Like, we just went through the major, like one of the biggest shifts on planet Earth that you could think of, like an entire last 3 years, right? And I'm like, what is everybody waiting for? Well, you think things are just going to go back to normal? Things are not normal, and there never was normal, and there never will be normal. Like, we are in a major energetic shift in consciousness on planet Earth. And it's also what happens is, as we're creating this beautiful new world that our hearts know is possible, there's also a lot of like crazy shit coming to surface. It's the massive purge. This is the process. It's initiatory process of humanity and the earth itself going through this purge process, which basically is the same as what happens with psychedelics. And that's the only way to heal. Has to come to surface. So this is where we need you. It doesn't matter what it is you're here to do, people need help. So I implore you to, oh, I'm so glad you think I'm an inspiration. Yeah, here's the thing, Kate, if you spent 10K in training, that's great. And here's the thing, a lot of people spend money in trainings. I actually am about to write an email about this, where I'm starting to realize there's nothing wrong with training. I've done trainings myself. There's a lot of great trainings out there, but I've had clients that are addicted to trainings. I have had people apply for my mastermind that are like, well, I'm in another training, I'm doing another training, and then I'm going to do this other training, and then I'm in this other. How much of the training is actually run by you not feeling good enough versus you actually needing the training? And why are you not helping people while you're training? That's where the smart people that come to my program are the ones that actually are in training programs that are also building their business and helping people. Because the reality is, you're here. If you're here, you are able to help people who are here. So if you're here today and you went through something 8 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or even 1 year ago, or even 3 months ago, you are able to help any of those people who are going through what you went through, any of them. And remember, you'll need a small handful for a 6-figure business. So why is it that people are constantly training without actually helping people? This is where I'm starting to point out the deeper core wound of how a lot of these training programs are selling into your core wound of never feeling good enough. And I'm actually starting to get pissed. I'm friends with a lot of people that have training programs. a lot of my, like even one of my closest friends has an amazing training program. Actually, like 2 or 3 of my closest friends run their own training programs. I have nothing against training programs, but what I do have against is the pandemic of thinking we're never qualified enough. We're never good enough. We are never trained enough. We are never worthy. We are not, I mean, it's like the depths of what is running our entire society. It's actually what's keeping capitalism alive is we need more. You need to be more successful. You need to train more. You can't be a facilitator unless you do this training. Guess what? My shaman, who is probably the most skilled facilitator on planet Earth, and I'm not just saying that, I've worked with a lot of people. You know what his training was? It was not a certification program. It was actually sitting and listening to the medicine year after year after year after year after year after year and doing the actual work. There is no training as valuable as you doing your own internal work, because everybody is putting so much into the external of trying to get answers from other people and training programs and Instagram and blog posts and resources, when really the answers are actually within you because you are inherently whole. You have had your own lived experience of being a human incarnated on planet Earth. And our ancestors who worked with plant medicines, you know, the Mazateks worked with psilocybin on their own. Were they getting certifications to give each other mushrooms? No. They were sitting with the medicine and listening to their higher selves and the medicine. And that is it. This is where there's this part of me that's like, you know what? Training programs are great, but we also have to get a grip on the reality of what's really happening here, which is this world that we're in is being run by people that are, I mean, it's kind of like Lululemon built their entire business on making women feel like their butts didn't look good. So you needed to have their pants to look good. For any of you that know this, it's an actual, there's been studies done on this. Their entire business model was built on making people feel bad about themselves and having to buy $100 leggings to feel really good about themselves. And that became this whole phenomenon, which built a multi-billion-dollar business. There's nothing wrong with it. It's called good business, good business, good marketing. But I want everyone to really get like into this place of understanding what your own core wounds are of, wow, I never felt good enough as a kid because I had, my upbringing or society or getting grades or school or my job or getting a raise or trying to be wealthy like the people down the street or whatever it is. When we're in touch with our own deep inner wounding of separation from ourselves and our inherent knowing that we are actually perfect as we are, our wholeness and our greatness, when we realize like, wow, it's because I don't trust myself. It's because I think there's something always wrong with me. It's because I don't believe in myself. It's because I have these deeper wounds that I haven't processed through yet. Then I look to the external to fix all my problems. And I'm not saying that's why you're in a training program. A lot of my clients are in training programs. I've done training programs. I will always do trainings. I'm about to do an energy training with my good friend. But I want people to see the addiction to constantly training and not helping. I will tell you this, you learn more from going and helping people than anything else. You learn more from your own process of doing your own inner work than anything else there is. The best psychedelic integration coaches are people that do their own psychedelics and psychedelic integration. I mean, there's nothing like doing your own integration to be great at integration. So I'm glad, oh, chill, thank you. I'm glad you're saying that because there's nothing wrong with trainings. I just, it's like, why aren't you helping people then? Okay, I'm going to answer some questions. Do you think it's a positive business strategy to share your personal life? Yes, it's a great business strategy. How many of you just heard me share some things about my personal life? So you heard my story. I could talk forever about the depths of my story and how I lost all my money at one point. I was on the verge of suicide. I had many spiritual awakenings. I was actually on my deathbed when I had a voice say something to me like, do you want to live? It actually said, you have a choice to live or die. And how do you want to live? And that's when I turned my life around, because I was like, oh my God, I could choose to die or live right now. So yes, it is definitely important to be radically yourself. I just shared about friends who were over here last night. I just shared about my home. I share about how I don't dance on Instagram because it doesn't vibe with me, but I do share my bees because I love them so much. So yes, there is something about opening up, because people want to get to know you, especially when, and there's nothing wrong with having a vlog. Yeah. I will say, Chris, having a vlog is great, sure. But if you only want to do videos to grow your business and nothing else, I will tell you this, if you don't have the root chakra and the strategies and the structures and the systems in place, it's still going to be hard. The problem with most people who just start YouTube channels, or they start doing videos, or even Instagram reels, the problem is if they don't actually know how to effectively communicate in those reels or those videos or whatever vlog they're doing, they're still not getting clients. And they're like, well, why? Because you've never learned how to effectively connect and communicate to your ideal clients so that they meet in the middle of that triangle where they want what it is that you offer. And I see this all the time. You guys, I run a WhatsApp group with like almost 800 people in it. That's an events group for where I live in the Hudson Valley. It's called Hudson Valley Conscious Events. And it's funny because I'm like, oh my God, I should actually run a business coaching workshop for them. No one knows how to communicate about their events. And so, some of their events don't get a lot of people at them because they don't know how to communicate effectively so that people actually attend their events. So they might say, come to my moon circle, come to my women's circle. Hey, I'm having a cacao ceremony on Wednesday. What does that do for me? What does that say? Come, Reiki training. I see this all the time. Reiki level 1 next Saturday, $200. What does that say to anybody? Why am I going to go to that? Anyway, so it's like the effective communication is really, really necessary. Okay, I'm going to answer the question about why not use Squarespace or Wix. What would you use instead? I actually have some very old videos on my YouTube about this. Here's the thing. Alicia, if you already have Squarespace, Wix, or Weebly put up, just leave it. Don't touch it. If any of you already have one of those as your website, just leave it as it is. Don't worry. Just ignore that I said that. It's not to just discourage what you already have. But I will say this, if you want to build a business that lasts for many, 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 many years, that supports you in the future, there's actually a better way to do it that will actually help you in the long run. Here's the thing. I had a different kind of online business previously. And then before that, I actually helped grow and scale early stage tech startups and did a lot of online business, including online marketing and e-commerce. I understand things about the internet that not a lot of normal people know about. Meaning, if you go Google, actually, I would love to know, I don't know where I land because I don't check this very often. If you go Google spiritual business coach, I probably land somewhere in the first 8 results. I used to land in the first few. I don't actually want to land in the first few anymore though. But if you Google spiritual business coach or maybe psychedelic business coach, I don't even know if I land for that. Maybe not. I probably land in the first page or page and a half. There's a reason why. It's because, I don't, again, that's not how I grew my business. It's actually that's like a very minor way of getting clients. So don't worry about it. It's actually one of the slowest ways to get clients. But what I did is when I started this business, because I actually had a previous business, I thought about, where do I want to be in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years even? Because let's say, I'm in my mid 40s now, late-ish, whatever, somewhere in that range. And let's say you're 32 or 35 or 40. you want to think of where you want to be in 10 or 15 years, maybe even 20. And who knows, the world might change by then. Maybe the internet won't even exist. Maybe Google won't matter. But Google has mattered for a very long time, and the internet has mattered for a very long time. So, you know, we can all agree on that. When I put up my website, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to set this up the right way from the very beginning so that in 5-10 years, it's going to just be working for me and it'll be working to my advantage. That is what I teach in the mastermind program, is how to set up your website the right way from day number one, so that if you start a psychedelic integration coach business today and you put up your website when you're in my mastermind, if you put up your website while you're in my mastermind or after that, or sometime, whatever, when you're working with me, and you get it set up the right way from the beginning, it will only grow and benefit you more later. And that's what I teach in great detail inside of my mastermind. Later on, don't worry, it's not step number 1, 2, 3, or 4, or even step 5, it's later. But it's, you know, there's a whole science, but it's not a science, it's an art form. It's an art form behind it. But here's the thing, I don't like to scare people and I don't want to waste your money, because the reality is you do not need a website right now if you are just starting out. Honestly, that's why I don't teach websites till later. To put it in perspective, I have, let's see, I had a client that was making $10,000 months without a website, and he just put up his website like a couple months ago. And that was like a year and almost 2 years into his business. I have another client who I still don't think has a website, sorry, former client, who is the one aiming for like a $20,000 a month. I had another client make $30,000 in the first few months of working with me. I don't even think, I think maybe she has a website now. I had a coach that I worked with once many years ago who is not joking. I'm not making this up. She was in the millions and never had a website. Millions, no proper website. There are many ways to go about it, and a website is not how people are going to find you. This is how I know. If you want to be, let's say, a life coach or a health and wellness coach or an embodiment coach or a men's coach, just go Google life coach. Like, first Google life coach. See how many life coaches land on pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. It's probably like hundreds of pages. How is someone going to find you there? Let's say then you do life coach New York. Okay, maybe it narrows it down a little. Let's say it's even psychedelic integration coach. Okay, maybe it's like 20 pages. I don't even know. I haven't even looked at this. And maybe you find some people, maybe names you recognize. But, you know, are you really going to be in the top 100? I mean, you guys, there's like thousands of coaches out there. I mean, not just thousands, there's like hundreds of thousands. And I will tell you this, psychedelic integration coaches are popping up left and right. And it's like, why not start it yesterday versus starting it in a year or two? Like, why would you wait when we're at this like huge influx and growth of transformational businesses? And everybody says, oh, there's so many coaches out there. There's so many people with psychedelics. Okay, so you can be in scarcity and just put it off longer, or you can just be one of the leaders. I always remind my clients, you guys are pioneers. Remember, you were still considered a pioneer when you compare yourself to the grand scheme of 8 billion people on planet Earth. So I hope that helps, but it's like this long drawn out art form. But if you already have a website, just leave it. Yeah. Nina, I agree as well. You know, that's another thing. This is why during my psychedelic workshop, I talk about a way to bring psychedelics in your business without being a facilitator. I actually don't believe that most people should be facilitating at all. I also believe there's a way to build a business around it where it's like keeping yourself into check. Like, what are you really, like, how long have you really studied with this medicine? Do you have a deep relationship with this medicine? You guys, I sit with some people, I sit with people who've been pouring medicine or serving medicine for, 40 years. I also sit with a couple friends who have been walking a path with medicine for 15, 20 years at such a high dedicated level where they have an intimate relationship with this. So here's the thing, Sarah, I can talk deeply about this. There is, here's the thing. Do you need to actually build an entire business around trip sitting, as I call it? It's like, what about, there's other ways to go about it. And this is what I teach in my mastermind where, yeah, you can actually hold journey space, but maybe it's done in a different way where it's really keeping yourself in check with what are you truly capable of right now? Like, you guys, I have held space for people myself. I do not hold, and I actually hold space a lot, meaning like in a helper capacity. I have no desire, and you have to remember, I've been on this path for over 30 years, and I've been deeply walking this path, like on a deeply committed, connected way for almost 15 years, but I still have zero desire to ever give anybody a high dose of anything, ever, and I will not. And I'm actually trained, by the way. Like, I have done psychedelic training myself, and I still will not do it because I also know there's another way. You know, there's a way for you to either work at a lower dose. There's a way for you to work with other plant spirits, which is something I do. There's a way for you to partner with people that are actually highly trained and highly skilled, where you're still actually guiding them through a process, but then partner with someone. So here's the thing. I will tell you this right now, because I taught a class for Psychedelics Today's training program last year, a 3-part class for them. And they have a facilitation program. No one there felt ready to facilitate. And honestly, you know, not to say their program's good or bad, or any program's good or bad. Most of these programs, they're not teaching you how to actually facilitate, because the only way to really deeply learn how to hold space is by actually developing a relationship with this medicine yourself. And I also agree. Like, again, it's an embodied experiential process. It is not something you learn from reading books and studying how the mind works with, you know, psilocybin. It's not by studying the interactions of, you know, taking a drug and another drug. It's not by studying the neurotransmitters that are affected by MDMA. That's ridiculous. Those don't get you anywhere. Yeah, they're interesting and they're good to know. And yes, of course, you need to know safety protocols. But here's the thing, Sarah, you can build a real business. And I'm not saying, here's the thing, I am not here to tell anyone who can and can't serve medicine. And I actually don't believe you need to be studied for 25 years. I don't believe that. I do believe there is a way we can actually hold space on a different level. You guys, to put it in perspective, I held space for a 7-figure multimillionaire entrepreneur and her entire team many months ago. And it was done through a different process. It was not just a psychedelic session. It was a whole entire process, which is what I teach my clients to do. And the psychedelics were a tiny part of it, and it was a very small amount. And guess what? They have been back in touch with me. They have had incredible results. They are working with some people that I've referred them to. They had a profound shift. Tiny bits. So there's also, you know, I'm here to actually help you see another way. And I'm not here to tell you can or can't facilitate. I have a lot of clients that do facilitation work, but I would never build your entire business on facilitation. And do you want to know why? I actually am about to write an email about this. I've done the math. It's not a sustainable business financially, number one. And number two, it's also not energetically sustainable. Do you know the amount of facilitators I have personally known and clients of mine that are actually legal psychedelic therapists that have come to me because they're burnout? It's like therapists alone come to me all the time to change their business model because they're so burnt out. The therapy model alone is totally unsustainable. And then you throw in psychedelic therapy and it's really unsustainable. And you guys, you can Google this. It is on websites. There's some organizations in Oregon that have actually written about how this business model is not energetically, financially, or spiritually sustainable. And you actually have to have a legitimate business built around it, because I hate to break the news, most places it's still actually illegal. So do you want to earn 100% of your income off of something illegal? And then what happens when you go to pay taxes? What are you going to tell the government? You know, are you going to hide and then maybe one day get found or get audited? Or are you going to lie completely about your business? Like, you know, here's the thing. I don't believe we all are here to facilitate just because we love psychedelics. I have been walking this path for 35 years, and I have never once felt the need to be like just a facilitator. And all my friends that do facilitate, that's not all they do. It's a piece of what they do. And honestly, in most indigenous traditions, that's actually a piece. There's a lot of indigenous traditions where it's actually just a piece of what they do, and it's not what they do full time. Like, you know, they're doctors, or they're musicians, or they're a different kind of healer, or they're the herbalist, medicine person, and then that's also part of what they do. You know, so I talk about this a lot, and I really stand for building a legitimate business that serves your ideal clients. And I will ask you this. Yes, it's great if you can hold space for your friends and family. Sure. I've held space for my mom, you know, but did it change her life in one session? No. We all know that psychedelics do not change people in one session. So then why make that your business? Because it's actually robbing people. Meaning, like, okay, yes, it's a profound experience, but is that actually what's transforming them? So why not build a business around the actual transformation, which is something bigger? Like, we all know, oh, okay, people will come to psilocybin because they're depressed. Well, did you fix their depression with one journey? No. I mean, even these high dose journeys, yeah, people have good results. And what really gives them the results is having ongoing support and integration. So why not build a business around ongoing support and integration with the psychedelic experience being part of your business? That's what I teach. So, and yeah, there's also a way to partner with others, because not everybody is, you know, ready. Yeah, awesome. Genesis, join. I'm actually going to give people a discount for joining so fill out the form. But if you don't need like a long call with me, I'm actually just going to give people a few $100s off. Meaning, if you know you want to join the mastermind, you're just in, then you get a reward. I'll just have a quick like, hello, I want to get to know you. I do screen everybody to get into the program because it's an amazing curated group. And I also, here's the thing, if you're not a fit for the program, I don't want you in there. Meaning, some people are at a different level where maybe they actually need private coaching, or maybe some people have a different kind of business. Like one of my clients, you know, has a totally different type of business and is more of like a leader and a CEO. You know, he would not really fit into my mastermind. So therefore he does private coaching with me. Someone else who's kind of already at a certain level and wants to up level, you know, that's where it's like, okay, you could do the mastermind and get great results. You could also do private, you know, so I never offer anything to anyone unless they're a fit. Here's the thing, my private does cost a lot more, but I will never give you private. I will never offer you private coaching with me if you're a fit for the mastermind. What I will say is join the mastermind. It's a great community. You will get results. It's your perfect fit. So I don't believe in offering something to someone just because it's more or less. Or if you're just, maybe you're not feeling 100% with the mastermind and you're like, like scared or whatever, or you're like, just, you know, maybe it's a VIP day with me, or maybe you wait for my shorter program. The one thing I will be honest about, I have a shorter program that maybe will launch in March or April. I'm not sure yet. I never know. The shorter program is good for people that are so maybe on the fence, like, oh, I'm not really sure. I just want to stay at my job a few more years, but maybe I'll get a little, maybe I'll explore it a little bit. Well, okay. But if you're like, yes, I know I'm here to do something. I want to make money. I want to serve people. I want to make a living. Then the mastermind's for you. It's for people that are like, yes, I'm in it. Oh, thank you so much. I'm feeling, yeah, I love it. I'm feeling a deep connection with all of you too. I will end with this. What I actually really encourage you guys to feel into this. What would it cost you to just wait months or years? Like, what is really, I mean, when people say, oh, let me wait, let me think about it a while, I'm curious, what is going to actually change in your life if you wait for 3 more months or 6 more months or 12 more months or 2 years? Like, what do you really think is going to change? People always think like, oh, I'm going to save up a bunch of money, or, it's like, well, if you haven't saved up a bunch of money last year, the year before, then why is it that you think that something magical is going to change in the next 4 months? Okay, off topic. I thought I saw somewhere that you attended one of your first ceremonies or retreats being involved in a diet. Yes. Oh, so Dan, that's called a dieta. The 5 ingredients. Yeah, I've done multiple dietas down in the jungle working with ayahuasca and other master plant teachers. So the tradition that I work with holds what they call a dieta, which is kind of like a purification process where, and again, I will just say a lot of people hold dietas very differently. The tradition I work with is extremely traditional, where the person that I work with, you don't eat any foods besides rice, which I don't eat. So that's why I said 5 ingredients. I eat quinoa, oats, a plantain that tastes like chalk, which I honestly don't really eat anymore either. Chicken that's been kind of grilled. I don't even know what they do to it. If you're lucky, you get chicken. It's not every day, but if you're lucky, you get a piece of chicken. And if you're lucky, you sometimes get this little fish that's like this big and it has 20 million bones in it. And that's it. And you eat it twice a day. And on ceremony days, you eat it once a day. And that's all you eat for 9 days. And then you bathe with nothing other than leaves and the water in the river. And these are certain, master plant leaves. So they're not just random leaves. They're energetically clearing you and spiritually clearing you and cleansing your aura and your field and making you smell like garlic. I know it's very strange. And then you do not use toothpaste or lotions or anything. Like, you just purify your entire body for 9 days so that you can really be in communion with the master plants of, ayahuasca, and then whatever plants you're dieting, which I have dieted multiple different plants over the years. And it has a profound change and effect on your life. And you really get to know the spirit of these plants, because in the end, it's not the brain chemistry, it is the spirit of these plants that are here helping us and guiding us. And when you purify and do these dietas, which are very, very challenging, highly challenging, but life-changing, they can really give you like lots of guidance and healing and, these kind of magical moments of, wow, like I am literally a different person. And, there's many different explanations. I like to leave it all a big mystery, but I really believe that, it's like these plants, the earth, these energies, these spirits are here to help us. And I do believe they're here to help us as we are here to help them, because we're living in a symbiotic relationship with one another. So like I personally work for Earth. Like, my boss is the plants, the spirits, the animals, this Earth, this planet. I am just completely surrendered to this path of being a divine channel for whatever wants to come through me to be of service at this time. I really believe, this is the path I take and a lot of my clients take. I really believe I'm incarnated here for a reason of, whatever. Today it's being of service in this way. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? I never know. That's the great mystery. But I am dedicated and committed to, working with the gifts that I've been given. I've been a natural entrepreneur since I was a kid. And I always say, like, okay, this is my gift today. These are my gifts today. So I just keep rolling with it. But when you are in service it's like everything in your life starts to change. This is actually, I've written about this. Your healing, that everybody desires all this healing. The healing to me is exponential when you're on the path of service to other, because it's not just about you and your personal traumas, your personal dramas all the time. It's like you're getting beyond your ego self to actually be of service to something bigger than you and your own, like, like illusion. I always speak about, like, we are living in this illusion of like making so much meaning and stories out of everything. But when you're on this path of, okay, what if I'm just here for something bigger, something that's like 7 generations and beyond? It's for the entire planet. And honestly, I believe it's actually for everything, the universe, the grand mystery. And when you connect to that and you start from that, the higher point in that triangle, what happens is everything in your reality starts to change and co-conspires to guide you on this path. Meaning, this is why people get the random money coming in, or the random clients out of nowhere, or things just seem to flow a lot better. And yeah, here's the thing, it doesn't always flow. It doesn't always work easily. There's always an initiation that comes in. But here's the thing, with stepping into a path of service at this higher level, getting through those initiations and challenges and those hard dark nights of the souls that we are all inevitably going to go through, whether you have a business or not. It's called being a human. They are much easier when you do them in the space of a container where you're being held with a coach, with my assistant coach, with each other, with a community of like-minded medicine people and spiritual people who are on the same path. It's like, this is one of the mottos of my group mastermind program. You grow, I grow, and we all grow together. Meaning, it's like we're in this circle. I actually hold it like a ceremony. It's like we're in this ceremonial space together with guidance. And when you grow, that person grows, and then I grow, and then we all grow. And it's this like energetic vortex of upward momentum. And that's how it works. And that's why, learning and healing in relation is so powerful. I mean, there's even a quote from the Bible. I forgot how it goes. I always forget about it, but it's like, when 2 or more are gathered, and it actually is true. It's like the human experience is not meant to be done alone, isolated, with your phone. It's meant to do in relation to each other. This is why people are desiring to be connected in community more than ever, because we have been, living in this individualistic times of like people just going, doing their own thing. But now people are realizing, like, okay, we need one another. And so there is nothing like being inside of a community. And that's what this program is all about. Yes, you are going to learn the steps. Yes, you are going to learn how to actually have a real business that supports you. And you're held inside of this energetic up level. This is why, by the way, people join the mastermind October, November, December, anytime. We start in January. People join and see results as soon as they join. It's like this weird thing. It's like, how do you explain that? People start to see shifts because there's an energetic commitment to your next level of your expansion and your growth. And that is what I'm here to do. Kate, awesome. That would be great. Yeah, March. Kate, if you're still on, yeah, I get it. If you're about to change on God's payroll, I could talk to you about, yeah, it starts in January. You could join late in March, but why join late? Thank you. Here's the thing too, with money, people always have this idea that like they're going to have more money like at some particular point in history versus, now. And I mean, unless you genuinely know, like, wow, I am receiving an inheritance on March 1st, or I'm going to sell a bunch of stock or cash in all my Bitcoin, or like you've been promised a bonus at your job on a certain date, and hopefully they're actually going to stick with the bonus. There's always there's a mindset of like, I'll do this when, I'll make a commitment when, I'll invest when. And then what happens is people are like always chasing, like, well, I still don't have the money. I still don't have the money. I still don't have the time. I still don't have the time. I'm still busy. I'm still busy. I'm still busy. Here's the thing. When are we never busy? When are we never having enough money? You know, it really comes, my friend who was here this morning, we actually had a little ceremony here last night, and my friend was still here this morning because she lives hours away. She was like, I invested into this voice work when I was broke because I knew how important it was. And that isn't even business work. She's like, I was in debt and I still invested. I don't know how I made it happen. I went into debt because of it. And guess what? She's buying a $400,000 piece of land right now, a year and a half later. Okay, so she went into a little debt, then her life changed, and now she's able to buy a $400,000 piece of land. She's like, I invested because I knew it was important to my future. And that's what I did. I got my first business coach when I was totally broke. And I'm like, I don't know how I did it. I think I just charged it to a credit card and I went into debt for a little while. But it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. It's like a tiny little piece of debt. And I'm not telling anybody to go into debt. Of course, don't go into debt, but make it happen. You know, like your life is in your hands. Like if you, and not about my mastermind, but anything you want. It's like people say they don't have money, but then all of a sudden they have money to go on a retreat. People say they don't have money, but then they go pay hundreds of dollars for a plant ceremony. They say they don't have money, but then I don't know, somehow they have money to fix their car when it breaks. It's like we all have the ability to create whatever it is we want, and whatever we see is important to our future. So instead of focusing on the money, focus on where you want to be in a year. Focus on your future self and make decisions from where you're going, not from where you're at. That is the key. Decide from your future self. Okay, I keep saying I'm going to teach an hour-and-a-half workshop, and my God, this keeps going over, but there's the link, which I should have put in days ago, but oh well. My assistant is not working on a Saturday. Blessings to you. And honestly, I can talk you through some mindset process, but here's the thing, money can always be found. Like, and I've just put my testimonial link in there as well. And by the way, we have an entire folder of like 1 million more testimonials that my team can actually just not get up here in time. Plus on my YouTube, I have a whole entire playlist of some video testimonials, which we keep meaning to put on here and just haven't had the time to. You know, I don't say any of this because I need you to join my mastermind. I would love you to join. I'm not attached. I'm here to serve whoever spirit wants me to serve every year, and that's how I feel. But what I don't want people to do is get caught up in the mindset of thinking I need more money first, or I need more time first, or I need to do this first, or I need to succeed at this one thing first, or I need to quit my job first. Think about your future self and decide from your future self. Go into your, like literally, this is Joe Dispenza 101. Go into a meditation and imagine yourself a year from today, October 7th, 2024, or a year and a half or 2 years from now, and imagine, what do you want to be doing? Close your eyes and feel where you are, how you're making money, how you're helping people, what life are you living? And then decide, what is it I need to get there in 12 months or 2 years or a year and a half? What is it I need to get there that quickly? You know, and if you think just waiting is going to get you there quick, okay, try it out and see how that works for you. I'm just saying this from experience, and I've been doing this a long time. And I guarantee if any of you join the mastermind, you will meet someone that's been waiting for a year or 2 years. They're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed this whole time. Every year someone says that. This is the light bulb. This is what I needed. This is the clarity I needed. Oh my God, this is the missing piece. I hear this all the time. This has been the missing piece of my business. So why wait? Anyways, okay, it's Saturday. Thank you for being here. For those that have stuck around for this damn long, oh my God, I really wish I need to start using a timer. I just get so passionate and I really want to serve you, and I help you to see that your mind is in the way, you are in the way, and there's actually a way out, and it's very simple. You just have to choose. and make it happen. Please email me or DM me on Facebook or maybe Instagram, but Facebook's actually easier for DMs. If you have any questions, I'm always here to answer any questions. You can apply for a call. You know, if you go through it and it says you don't qualify, but for some reason you still want to try to make the mastermind happen, just shoot me an email, you know. But I just really encourage you to feel into your future heart and really feel into where you want to be in a year and a half, 2 years from now, and make it happen. I love you. Thanks for being here. Reach out if you need anything. Lots of love and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad this resonates in a profound way. Bye.